At any given moment, history tends to feel quiet, until suddenly, it doesn't. Right now, far from television studios and press briefings, a US aircraft carrier is cutting through open water toward one of the most strategically dangerous places on Earth. The USS Abraham Lincoln, escorted by a full strike group, is heading toward the Arabian Sea, toward a narrow maritime corridor that quietly keeps the global economy alive. 20% of the world's oil flows through this single stretch of water. At the same time, Iran is facing internal pressure that has not been this intense in decades. So the question isn't dramatic, it's unavoidable. Is this a show of force meant to prevent war, or the positioning that happens just before one begins? The Middle East is rarely calm, but what's happening now is different. While the world's attention fractures between wars in Europe, elections in the United States, and economic anxiety everywhere else, something quieter is taking shape offshore. A deliberate concentration of American naval power, not rushed, not chaotic, calculated. Carrier strike groups do not redeploy casually. They are moved when planners believe the risk of not being present is greater than the risk of escalation. And right now, the United States has decided that presence matters. In this video, we're not asking whether tensions are rising. They clearly are. We're asking why now, what this posture enables, and how quickly deterrence can turn into disaster. You're watching Nexus-Feed Deep Dive, and this is where the chessboard comes into view. From a distance, a carrier strike group looks like a symbol. Up close, it's a system. The USS Abraham Lincoln carries dozens of aircraft capable of surveillance, strike missions, and air superiority. But its real strength lies in what surrounds it: destroyers and cruisers, equipped with layered missile defense, electronic warfare systems, and anti-submarine capabilities. This is not a force built for intimidation alone. It's built to survive first contact, and crucially, it's not operating in isolation. US naval assets are already positioned across the Red Sea, the Gulf of Oman, and inside the Persian Gulf itself. When viewed together, these deployments form overlapping zones of control, radar coverage, missile interception ranges, and rapid response corridors. This matters because it changes the strategic geometry. Iran is not being approached from one direction. It is being contained, not invaded, not blockaded, but placed under constant observation. This is what military planners call forward deterrence, the idea that conflict is less likely when the cost of aggression is immediately visible. But visibility cuts both ways. Naval movements never exist in a vacuum. They are reactions to politics, to intelligence, to instability on land. Inside Iran, the pressure is mounting. Economic decline, international isolation, and widespread public anger have converged into a sustained challenge to the regime's authority. Protests are not new in Iran, but the scale, persistence, and intensity of recent unrest have alarmed even seasoned observers. For authoritarian systems, legitimacy is not optional. When it erodes, regimes face a dilemma: reform, repress, or redirect. Historically, redirection often wins. External confrontation has a grim utility. It reframes dissent as disloyalty. It transforms economic frustration into patriotic obligation. And it allows the state to justify extraordinary measures in the name of national survival. Washington understands this dynamic well. That's why recent US rhetoric has expanded beyond nuclear concerns to explicitly reference human rights abuses and internal repression. It signals that Iran's domestic behavior is now inseparable from its international standing. But this also raises the stakes, because when a regime feels it has nothing left to lose domestically, it becomes more willing to gamble internationally, and that gamble almost always passes through one place. The Strait of Hormuz is one of those places that feels abstract until it isn't. At its narrowest point, the shipping lanes are barely 2 miles wide. Yet through this gap flows roughly a fifth of the world's oil supply, along with vast quantities of liquefied natural gas. There is no realistic alternative route. A serious disruption here would not stay regional. It would register in fuel prices, inflation data, shipping insurance markets, and central bank decisions within days, if not hours. Iran knows it cannot defeat the US Navy in open combat, so it doesn't plan to. Instead, its doctrine emphasizes ambiguity and deniability. Mines that appear overnight, fast boats that vanish into coastal clutter, missiles launched from concealed positions. The objective is not victory, it is uncertainty. Because once commercial insurers judge the strait too risky, tankers stop transiting. And when tankers stop, the strait closes, not by declaration, but by default. This is why the US naval presence is so dense. Its role is not just to fight, but to convince markets, insurers, and shipping companies that the risk remains manageable. In modern conflict, perception is power. Here's where the danger peaks. Deterrence relies on credibility, but credibility relies on proximity, and proximity increases the risk of mistakes. This is the security dilemma in its purest form. From Washington's perspective, the carrier strike group prevents miscalculation by clarifying consequences. From Tehran's perspective, it feels like pressure tightening, like options disappearing. With US destroyers operating near Iranian territorial waters, the space for error is vanishingly small. A radar misinterpretation, an aggressive maneuver, a local commander acting faster than diplomats can react. History suggests that wars rarely begin because leaders want them. They begin because systems collide under stress. And right now, the system is under extraordinary strain. We are living inside a moment of suspended motion. The forces are deployed. The intentions are signaled. The global economy is watching quietly. The arrival of the USS Abraham Lincoln may ultimately succeed in its purpose, deterring escalation, stabilizing shipping lanes, and buying time. Or it may be remembered as the point where restraint became unsustainable. What happens next will depend less on firepower than on judgment. And in geopolitics, judgment is often the first casualty of pressure. We'll continue tracking every movement, every signal, and every shift in this standoff. If this analysis helped you see the deeper structure beneath the headlines, please support the channel by liking the video and subscribing. Also, let us know what you think in the comments section. Are we witnessing the quiet beginning of a US invasion of Iran, or are these mere moves of deterrence and containment? That's it on this edition of Nexus-Feed Deep Dive. Until our next one, keep asking the right questions, stay critical, and be safe.